Huge talk in the IWC on whether or not Damage Control is working in WWE. What are your thoughts?
There's a few things you can question about Triple H's booking and storytelling to this point. I think one of the blemishes has been the fact that Io and Dakota Kai lost their initial tag match and then ended up winning the titles. Like, what was that? Less than 2 weeks later. Bayley did not beat Bianca, which I kind of expected her to, because I felt like I think they need to maybe add somebody that can bring a little something to that group. I don't know.
It's kind of like the Judgment Day, where when Finn took over, you're like, what the hell are they doing with Judgment Day? They weren't really getting reactions. There wasn't really a storyline. They were losing all these matches. But then they took Dominic, and things are actually working for them right now. And they're getting the heat, and Dominic suddenly has gotten a character out of nowhere and is actually starting to work now with the dynamic of Rhea Ripley. Finn Balor is, starting to become more of a presence with his promo than he is in his in-ring stuff. And granted, they went back to the AJ Styles well, but we'll see how that develops now that the Good Brothers are there, if that's just short term or they're permanently there. Damage Control, I think, is in the same situation. When they first joined, no one was reacting. No one. It was silent. And I'm like, oh shit, this is not good. If this was Vince running the show, Damage Control would already be split up. Bayley would turn face and Io Sky would be taking loss after loss after loss, and Dakota Kai would be in catering. Bayley is getting the heat, but Dakota and Io still get nothing, despite having decent matches, despite having some decent promos backstage. And sometimes this happens, and you see this in pro sports where like a college breakout star goes to the pros and just doesn't make the transition. Perhaps Io Sky and Dakota Kai are like that. Maybe adding another person to create more of a character within the Damage Control, an Indy Hartwell, bringing Candice LeRae over, whoever it may be. But if it worked for Dominic and Judgment Day, I don't see why it can't work for someone, a fourth member of Damage Control. But it did not help their cause that Bianca Belair single-handedly beated them in that ladder match with no Alexa Bliss and no Asuka, even though they were injured, and that's why they weren't on the show, whatever the case may be. That's head scratching to me.